What is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back another video. And today I'm going to talk about this whole news about the Wrestlemania 43 or I'm sorry, 42 ticket sales being lower than they were from the previous year when they were going to the same venue, cuz it was in Vegas last year as well. So I want to talk about this because WWE said, well, at least what it's reported is they're not too overly concerned about it. But then we're seeing potential sales, little mini sales until tomorrow night, on Monday. So what's happening here? People think that, is this going to change how WWE does their card, right? Because the only match that's been formally announced for WrestleMania Vegas, again, WrestleMania 42, is the only thing that's been announced right now is CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the championship. Right? That's the only thing that's been announced. They haven't announced anything else, which you normally don't do anyways. WWE historically has never announced things too early. So it's not new. The problem with WWE right now in terms of the ticket sales, which I just want to say this right now. I have to put this out here because even though a lot of people crap on Triple H because of his very questionable booking, the matches, I need people to understand that Triple H has nothing to do with the ticket sales. Guys, you can criticize Triple H for how he books the shows. You can criticize the storylines. That's fine. But you cannot blame Triple H for how much they're charging for the tickets. You cannot blame Triple H for WrestleMania being Vegas for the second straight year. You cannot blame Triple H for the next year's WrestleMania 43, being in Saudi Arabia. You can't even blame Triple H for the Royal Rumble this year being in Saudi Arabia, which I know a lot of people were not happy about that. None of that. He oversees the talent. He's head of creative. That is his job. The shows and how they are booked. Or he has nothing to do. I'm sorry, not the show. He has nothing to do with where the venues are booked, okay? That's TKO, okay? This isn't Vince McMahon. This isn't Vince who's running everything. He has all the positions and he has his hand in the cookie jar for everything. This isn't Vince McMahon, okay? This is TKO, run by Endeavor and early Emmanuel, okay? Freaking calling the shots, okay? Triple H does the bookings, okay? For who's going to wrestle on the show, okay? So, Triple H can't do anything in terms of that. You got to blame Endeavor for that. You got to go after Emmanuel for that because he is the one who makes those decisions. Okay? Especially after last year when he flat out said that they were going to make the prices even worse. He said that in a press release last year that they were going to up the prices more because he claimed in his own words that Vince McMahon was prioritizing families more than actually fully capitalizing on the profits that could be made. This is the problem with WWE. Besides the stuff on the creative side with Triple H, the company structure doesn't understand the wrestling business. They're trying to certainly try to take a playbook out of Dana White and how he does UFC. The problem with that is Dana White is able to book guys ahead of time. He's able to book fighters ahead of time. You're not able to do that in WWE because WWE, it's a week-to-week show, and you're building storylines to set up these programs. Okay? This is why the business model that Emmanuel is going for isn't going to work. Now, is this going to hurt WWE? No. WWE is a multi-billion-dollar company, okay? It's a multi-billion-dollar company. So will it hurt it in the short term? Absolutely not. Long term, yes, this could have a dismal effect on WWE as a brand and a company because the way they are structuring the bookings for these venues and shows aren't going to help. Now, I've heard that there might be possibly rearranging the card because of the sales not being more than last year's sales at this time. So sales are down. Sales are down more than they were last year at this time. And so that's their concern right now. Not the card, which, trust me, I don't think the card's going to be that good, whatever Triple H is planning outside of right now the main event, because it appears that they're going to go with Cody and Drew for the night one main event, which I highly disagree with. The match has been done multiple times. It's basically what they're doing with Drew and Cody matches. They're not like they're bad matches. It's just like it's the same story the entire time. It's very reminiscent to what they did with Randy Orton and John Cena. The only difference is those matches were crap. The John Cena, Randy Orton 2009 storyline. There are some revisionist history people out there that actually think that was a good feud. It fucking wasn't. It was a terrible feud. I know because I was on YouTube, but I wasn't making videos yet. But I watched people that were reviewing this card, the Cena Orton feud in 2009 that we got on like 4 pay-per-views straight. Was it at SummerSlam too? Okay, so then it was like 5 pay-per-views. It's SummerSlam, Breaking Point, Hell in a Cell, Bragging Rights. Yeah, almost 4 pay-per-views. We got 4 pay-per-views month to month, and everybody just came hot potato with the title at that time. That's the only difference to this storyline is that it's just there wasn't a hot potato element with the title. But that feud was terrible. That feud was fucking god awful. And the whole matches weren't great either. But it seems like they're going with that, even though we've seen it for like 5 straight pay-per-views now. Seems like that's what they're going with. Cody lost the title at the on SmackDown specifically, so he could chase the title for WrestleMania instead of walking in as the champion again. I think this is the incorrect move. I think if WWE is actually serious about improving the ticket sales, because again, it has nothing to do with anybody. In terms of, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, two of the three people that we view as our top guys, because that was a recent thing that came out, is that TKO views CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes the three top stars in the company. Okay, so two of the three guys that they view as the top guys in the company are facing each other at WrestleMania in the main event, night 2 main event, Punk and Roman, right? For the championship, for the World Heavyweight Championship. Okay. And they're not drawing people in, so they're draws. And all you people that are going to bitch and say that CM Punk ain't a draw, because I know you got those anti-fucking dumbass CM Punk fans out there, okay? You're going to play that logic, then I guess Roman Reigns isn't a draw, right? I know you got those Roman Reigns dick riders out there, but it has nothing to do with Roman, Punk, Cody. None of those guys is not the reason why WrestleMania isn't drawing. WrestleMania isn't drawing because people don't want to pay those outrageous prices. Okay, that's just facts. And I remember Nick Khan saying last year that all people will come. People will come despite the heights, despite the price hikes. People will come. See, WWE is banking on loyal WWE fans still coming. And they're finally going to start realizing that, if money's tight, even the biggest and most loyal fans and even ones with the biggest pockets have a limit. So WWE's going to eventually come to that realization. Is it going to affect anything short term? No, because next year's WrestleMania is in Saudi Arabia, and it doesn't matter how many tickets are sold for next year's WrestleMania because it's in Saudi Arabia. They're already being paid for it, essentially. But will it hurt the way they do things going forward? Maybe. We'll see. But I tell you this right now. If WWE is actually serious about switching the card, they should be putting LA Knight in the match with Drew McIntyre. And what do you do with Cody? I know fans have been saying it for a while. Cody Orton. Cody Orton. You know what I'm saying? Cody Orton. Or, I guess Sami Zayn would have a beef for him, but Sami Zayn wouldn't be as marketable of a challenge for Cody Rhodes' stature right now. So I would do Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Orton can easily turn heel, though I think that would be a bad idea because I don't think anybody's going to boo Orton. They didn't want to boo John Cena, So I think that would be a bad idea. But knowing WWE, I know that's what they're going to do if they do that. Because they're not going to turn Cody heel. That's the fight. That's the match they got to do. You want to be serious about this? If Endeavor really wants to be serious about, actually doing something that fans are going to want to see, it's LA Knight. LA Knight is the most over babyface in the company right now. And it's like I said in a previous video. If you have LA Knight get eliminated by Cody Rhodes like you had him eliminate him at the Rumble, Cody's going to be a heel. The fans are going to boo him. You know, you might not want him to be a heel. You might give him the John Cena fucking treatment like that we've had for over a decade, where we're not going to turn him heel. He's going to get booed. He's going to be a babyface getting booed. Like John Cena, Roman Reigns. He's going to become that guy. Because LA Knight is the guy that people want as the babyface now. Okay, he's the guy. Okay, and unfortunately, apparently he's going to be taking on Brock Lesnar, according to Dave Meltzer. Well, I don't take any stock into Dave Meltzer's comments. But when it comes to LA Knight, any type of potential, burial of LA Knight is always going to pique my interest, even though it's from the incredibly con man Dave Meltzer. But nonetheless, I don't really put that much stock into it. Because I believe the match LA Knight is going to have is Bronson Reed. I think they're going to have him go up against Bronson Reed unless they pull a 180 and they actually have LA Knight win the chamber, which I don't think is going to happen. So, yeah. What's going to happen? Who knows? Will WWE learn? Probably not. They probably aren't going to learn their lesson, because they're still going to have the mentality of, well, look what we're doing. Look at us. Look at us. Look what we're doing. Look at the profits we're making. Yada, yada, yada. All that bullshit. I don't think anything's going to change. They're set in their ways. They're short matches. And I'll say this right now to all people, that are asking, well, we want Vince McMahon back. I'm like, no, you don't. You do not want Vince McMahon back. Okay? Vince McMahon, the last 10 years of him being in charge was torture. Okay? Was fucking torture. Okay? And I have to remind this to people because there are a lot of people with short-term memory loss now. Like, you have the short-term memory loss because you're seeing how bad Triple H is doing right now. You do not want Vince McMahon back. Okay? Vince McMahon did not know how to properly tell stories anymore. Okay? He was just winging it every week. Ripping up the script an hour before the show. Multiple times he was doing this, okay, throughout the years. Okay, the last 10 years of him being in charge of creative. Okay, you do not want that. You're only saying this because you just are sick of how Triple H is doing shit now. Okay? And I get that. Excuse me. Unfortunately, and I've already talked about this, who can replace Triple H at this point? Well, I don't expect Triple H to be in charge of creative as long as Vince McMahon is. Okay? Vince McMahon has been pretty much in charge since he bought his father out in 1982. Okay? Obviously, his father was oversighting him for a while. But once he made full payments on the investment and paid his father back, he pretty much ran the show. Okay, and he had been running the show until 2022, when he was forced to, quote-unquote, retire. That's pretty much how long Vince McMahon was doing it for. There's nobody that's ever going to top that record in WWE, including Triple H. Triple H is never going to be doing it as long as Vince did. Now, who would take over? No idea, guys. I have no idea. Obviously, you got Rox Ryder, who has some experience from the Attitude Era. Um, but I don't know. And maybe you need to look. Maybe you need to look in a different direction. I don't know necessarily he needs to be a former wrestler or anything like that, or a former manager. You know, you got Paul Heyman there, obviously. Um, I don't know if you necessarily need that. I definitely think you need some of those people involved. But I don't know, maybe you get a non-wrestling guy in there. Eric Bischoff wasn't really a wrestling guy. Eric Bischoff was not a wrestling guy. He got into the business on accident. Okay. He got into the business from, you know, pitching uh he pitched some ninja game thing. I'm not even making this up. He said this in his book. Okay. Controversy creates cash. He talked about it that was in what was it, it was some ninja game thing or whatever that he pitched to the AWA. And this was around the time they weren't doing so good either. And that's kind of how he got into the business. All right. He was kind of more of a salesman. And that led to him going to WCW. Eventually became president after working himself. He worked his way up. So even someone like Bischoff beat Vince 88 straight weeks. He's the only person who's ever done it. No one's ever beaten WWE since in ratings. For another wrestling company, at least. Eric was able to go head to head with him and beat him 88 straight weeks. So, nobody will ever be able to do that. Maybe you got to bring someone like kind of like a younger Eric Bischoff, maybe. But you got to have other guys involved. You got to have some wrestling guys involved. You can't have. Maybe they just need a committee. I don't know if that will work either, but maybe you just go back to like how the NWA used to do it. Like they used to have like a committee or something like that. Maybe have like 5 different people. I just don't know. I don't know who could take over. But I don't even know if we're at that point yet. Like a lot of people think, oh, Triple H is gone. No, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. But, I mean, it's definitely going to affect the bottom dollar. And I would love to know when WWE is going to finally realize. Because I don't think they're going to realize it at this year's WrestleMania. Even though they are concerned. They'll figure out ways. They always do. Hopefully WrestleMania 44 won't be in Vegas. Because WrestleMania 43 is in Saudi. So WrestleMania 44, I'm hoping, will be at a different city next time. Because I don't like that Vegas got back-to-back WrestleManias. Vince McMahon always booked the WrestleManias. He always booked it where, with the exception of WrestleMania 4 and 5, but that was still when WrestleMania was still vastly new. He always booked WrestleMania where, especially after the bids started happening, like when he started bidding for WrestleMania venues. He always wanted WrestleMania to always be in a different location from where the previous year it was. So you had to wait at least a couple years before you could rebid on it again. That was how he always did things. And it couldn't be on the same year the Super Bowl had it, too. So those were his rules under the era of when he started booking stadiums and they started letting them bid it up. I hope we don't also have another embarrassment where we announce publicly where the next year's WrestleMania will take place, and then about a month later we decide, oh yeah, it's not going to go there, like they did to New Orleans. Okay, so hopefully we don't get that again. But yeah, very unfortunate. Hopefully something happens. I very, very hope much something happens. I mean, CM Punk's in his first main event. And I hope we don't get blamed for it, because I know that's what the freaking got some idiots out there that are gonna fucking say, "Oh, well, CM Punk's fault," and it's not. It's has nothing to do with CM Punk. Ticket sales were lowered last year. They're even lower this year because of the simple fact that people aren't going to pay these outrageous prices. That's just the fact of the matter. Especially when you can just watch it at home. You know, even though that's too expensive too. But obviously Netflix has it internationally. So the international people they're like, well, why would we travel? And then also there are people that might use their VPNs. I mean, it is a thing. It's against Netflix's no, it's against Netflix's service, but not that I don't know if it's necessarily enforced, because it seems like people are still doing it, from what I've heard. And also Stephanie McMahon actually promoted it too. So that's another thing too. Stephanie McMahon actually promoted it. Like, it was actually sponsored on her show. I still facepalm myself when I saw that. I was like, oh, okay. This is not what Netflix, I think, wants to, or this is not what ESPN wants to hear. But and Netflix, because obviously Netflix, they, it's against their service, but yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, if you like the video, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for the latest contents. Thank you. And that's about it, guys. I am the S Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace. Also, make sure, besides my YouTube channel, to follow me on the Twitch, the Instagram, and I do have a Discord link in the description where we discuss various topics, including this one here. Now I'm out. Peace.